Hello and welcome to a special edition of the In the Money Players podcast. This is a Woodbine special for Sunday, October 10th. I'm your host, Peter Thomas Fornatow, coming to you from the Brooklyn Bunker once again, and happy to be joined quick fire right back by two guests who helped us out on the late week show. Coming to us first and foremost, the long-suffering Toronto Maple Leafs fan. He somehow manages to keep a very good attitude on air and in his Twitter persona, where you can find him at Woodbine Bratt. I'm speaking, of course, about our buddy Jeff Bratt. How are things, my friend?
Things are fantastic. You know, we're keeping things going here. It just seems like every weekend at Woodbine with the COVID condensed schedule, there's something to look forward to. And we have something to look forward to again this weekend, so I'm pumped.
Yeah, and the Sunday Stakes coming up at Woodbine, and we're going to be covering most all of them here with special shows on the network. It's definitely worth something to pay attention to. Not just the horse players, it's not just NFL on Sunday and the circuits that you're normally familiar with. If you're not used to what's going on up at Woodbine, we've got you covered. And one of the ways we have it covered, in addition to his regular appearances on the show, is the write-ups that are done over at inthemoneypodcast.com by our next guest. He's also the business manager over here at In the Money Media. He's Drew Coatney. Drew, what's up?
Hey, I'm good. Hey, this is the tortured podcast, I guess, because being a Lions fan and not even sniffing a playoff win, I think Jeff and I are kindred spirits here together.
Yeah, you could definitely have something to talk about if you ever get stuck in an elevator. That's for sure. We won't subject the rest of the world to Leaf and Lion fandom, but there is a conversation to be had for sure. Normally on these shows, we focus on the late pick four, but we're going to go a little bit earlier on this card because we have what promises to be a corker, short field, but super interesting race in race number 3. It's the Durham Cup going 1 1/16 miles on the synthetic with some very big names if you follow racing at Woodbine and not just at Woodbine, really around North America, with a potential showdown between Mighty Heart and Sir Winston in this one. Jeff, who do you think is going to prevail? Will it be one of the big two, or there's a couple others in here that go with chances as well?
Am I allowed to ask a question on the In the Money podcast?
All the time.
Okay. So as a horse player, I worked back on August the 19th, and I saw Sir Winston returning off a long layoff, and I thought, okay, that's interesting. He's here at Woodbine. Horse has had previous Woodbine success, so I only lost once at Woodbine on the synthetic. I said, I'm going to be the wise guy. I'm going to try and beat the Belmont Stakes winner. I'm going to go towards a horse by the name of Malibu Mambo because I'm going to get a bit of a price. Malibu Mambo goes off at 8-5 or 9-5. How does Sir Winston go off at 9-2 in that race? A Belmont Stakes winner in that field and wins the race.
It's unbelievable. I mean, I think it gives you valuable signal here. There's two things at play, in my opinion. The first, and this is something we've talked about all the time, about how tough these parimutuel markets are these days. Everybody's a wise guy. Sometimes when I say that, I'm upset and I insert an expletive in front of the word wise guy. But it's just amazing how, like, that is, your opinion. It would just classically call it a sharp opinion. But these days, you'll sometimes see that sharp opinion expressed directly in the parimutuel market in a way where it just wasn't the case 15, 20 years ago. Not to get off my lawn on you people, but I think that's part of it. But then here's the other thing that might lead us to some significance today. He was coming off of a 352-day layoff at that point. And what that tells me is the horse probably was not fully fit, and people around the horse were talking about that. And that information gets entered into the marketplace. So now you have him coming back, with another nice break after that, but clearly going to be tighter than that day. And maybe that's a sign that Sir Winston is ready to take another step forward. And if he does, they might all be running for second. That's the way I see it anyway. Do you buy that logic, Jeff?
It's valid. And the pace scenario is the big storyline in this race, because what happened last time in the Seagram is Tap at the Win got to the front and Mighty Heart didn't go after him. And it was over after that. So now we got a new pilot with Mighty Hearts. And does somebody go after Tap at the Win, or do we get a rerun of the Seagram all of a sudden in here? Because if Tap at the Win's a good horse. I mean, a really good horse. They ran the horse at the Belmont. The horse was 5-1 in the Belmont, as a matter of fact. So he was able to wire the field. So I don't know what you guys think the pace scenario is going to be like in this race.
I mean, looking at pace figures, Drew mentioned he thought off air Tap It to Win might be coming from off it. On pace figures, I think he's supposed to go to the lead.
Yeah, that's my fault there. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I had my horses mixed up there.
That's all right. But how do you see the pace shaking out?
If you're Mighty Heart, you got to imagine the rider instruction is you better be on the lead and keep the rail, which then pushes the issue all together with Tap It to Win. And I think the hand is dealt there, and Sir Winston's going to get that rail ride tip out and close well. I'm laying my cards on the table right now, but I think that full-heartedly is where it's going to go. And I think we're going to get a great value on that price. I'm curious to see where the morning line ends up as we're recording early Friday morning, and there hasn't been any yet.
I just got them, actually. They just popped up here on my Timeform US. They've got Mighty Heart is at 8-5, Sir Winston 7-5, Tap It to Win 3-1, Halo Again 12s, and Special Forces at 6. I mean, I don't mind that 7-5 on Sir Winston. I think you just described it perfectly, Drew, how this race should be run. I would think, ideally, to suit, can hopefully sit in that pocket, get a little bit more pace to run into, fitter off the layoff. I mean, it's interesting because I have been on the wrong side of Sir Winston a lot, including Jeff, like you, the last day. But I can't help but be with him here. What's your final answer on this one, Jeff?
Yeah, that's how I envision the race going, because I think if you're Mighty Heart, you got to say, at least I went down fighting, right? It's one of those scenarios. Yeah, I might win the war or we'll lose the battle, or whatever the saying is. The horse might be able to put away Tap It to Win, but then set up for Sir Winston. But I think you got to go down fighting with one of your best assets. One of your best assets is speed. And last time the race was over at the half in 49 seconds. So I think you got to go down swinging.
More stakes action later in the card with race number 8. We've got 2-year-olds in the Cup and Saucer going 1 1/16 on the turf. Drew, we'll start off with you on this one. You've been following this division closely. Who do you like in this big one with $250,000 in the pot?
Yeah, this is a really tough race here. I'm going to go with, and I don't have the numbers here, so I apologize, but Spring Mountain, which would be the number 1, easy peasy on that one there. Clearly did not like the tight turns on that inner last out, and should be able to build upon that debut outer course race. Contreras gets back aboard in first time Lasix. Sometimes we see this happen where that grinder style that we've just been discussing on the turf courses versus the outer, the inner, and the tight turns. I just don't think that Spring Mountain liked that type of configuration, going 2 turns, trying to navigate those, and should have a much better advantage trip, especially going just the 1 turn. So I like the Spring Mountain. And then my other kind of wise guy horse in here is the number 9 Brutality, hindered by the bad start last out, forcing this one to the back of the pack, and then ended up running well enough against the pace flow, and would expect this one to be a bit more closer, hopefully for a better break. And then lastly, a bit of a defensive use, number 8 Fast Feet on debut, ran well, and would imagine could repeat a similar effort with that race that looks to be void of speed in here today. It may just be able to get away with one.
Couple of big priced ideas from Drew there for his first couple of picks, with Spring Mountain clocking in at 10-1 on the morning line and Brutality at 15-1. Is that the kind of race this looks like to you, Jeff? One where we could see a bit of a boil over, or are you more landing with some of the ones at the top of the market?
This race is always bonkers for a couple of different reasons. First of all, it's 2-year-olds on the turf, so you can toss that into the equation. The time of the year, and when you get a given nature to the turf course, like we're probably going to have, this race will be on the grass unless it's a safety concern. But if it could be as soft as anything, we don't know because there is rain in the forecast. So, expect the unexpected in this race. And Drew, you're going to have to issue a press release, because for the first time in the Money Podcast history, we are in agreement in a race like this. I am with you on the Spring Mountain. Now, Spring Mountain and we have a bit of a love-hate relationship, because I quite liked this horse the first time that he ran. He was the best horse in the race, but he started to lay in, and he was all green. He didn't know what was going on. He's like, wow, this is fun, this game of racing. I'm just going to focus on anything but racing, as a matter of fact. And the horse finishes second with late surge. Now, last time was really hindered by a slow pace last time out, so that really killed his chances. So I'm with you. I don't love the draw being on the inside in a field like this, but I'm going to go towards Spring Mountain. To me, though, the horse to beat is Stronger Together. The horse did not get out of the gate effectively at all first time outs and just made up a pile of ground. So Stronger Together for me is kind of the horse that I think has got a lot of upside in this field. But yeah, I'm all about Spring Mountain this race as well. So let's hope, Drew. Drew, we can either have a celebration or we can cry into our losing tickets after the cup is off.
Well, if our sports team are any indication, we better get the chicken bread.
No, don't think that way. Don't think that way. I like good cases on one who's 10-1 on the morning line. Now, who knows? Maybe that means that price won't materialize, but hopefully it does, and we can have another success story with a big priced stakes winner like we were able to do last weekend on that was on the Sunday show, wasn't it? That we had British royalty come in for us at a nice price. Let's move on to race number 9. We've got more graded stakes action with the Grade 3 Ontario Matron Stakes, 3 and up fillies and mares going 1 mile and a 16th on the synthetic. Jeff, we're going to keep it with you.
I'm keen in this race. I just don't think this division's that tough right now at Woodbine. I think Sky Gate's got a massive pace edge on this field. Horse looked really good last time out, winning off with a layoff. I think Cassie's got her in a great spot. I'm not being too crazy on this race. I'm taking Sky Gaze at a low price, and that will allow me to spread on the cup and saucer, so that's good. So I just don't think this division is very strong right now, so I think the race goes through Sky Gaze.
Should get a great trip. I love to see a horse who is among the best speeds and among the best closers. Sometimes, rather than getting too clever, it's better to just go with the old fastest horse angle. That might be the case with Sky Gaze. But Drew, is that how you see it?
I do. We're 2 for 2 here. Let's not jump in trouble. Everything Jeff has said. I think it's significant too. This is a 4-year-old in Cassie's hands with what I project to have upside left. The other horse I'm going to go with is the number 3, A Fleet Catherine. Was stuck too wide back and ended up in a bit of a match race against Art of Almost at the top of the stretch. I think the tables might turn because if I were Stan, I would ride this one a bit more aggressively, making sure the other horses go with me and pin my main competitors down in the rail behind. But there's a ton of ifs in that. We need the price to materialize for Fleet Catherine. I would imagine we're going to see about 6-1, if I were to guess, 4-1 on this runner. And my main plays are going to go through the number 6 Sky Gaze because it's much easier to predict the easy speed lead and then kick on clear. I mean, it just writes out that way.
I did want to loop back for 1 minute to the cup and saucer because Jeff did mention the idea of spreading, and you mentioned your top fancies in that race. I did want to give you a chance to mention any wild prices you'd want to include back in race number 8, or were you thinking more of like just anything with a pulse kind of spread?
Honestly, with it being a given nature to the turf course, and with there being a horse like Sky Gaze in 9th, the all button might be a good play in that race. Just hoping to get a bit of a price. I mean, obviously, I've got more definitive opinions. Like I think Where's Neil's better than what he showed last time out, and he won last time out. But I think he's better chasing at horses than being the target in there. Fast Feet could be any kind of horse, although it's probably going to be a low price in that field. I guess if I had a real long shot, it'd be Dancing in Denial for Samson Farms. It's Samson. You got to always respect their pedigrees in there. And the horse was pretty gutsy in victory in that last race.
Double figure price on the morning line. So the 8, 10, and 5 among those Jeff would consider as backups in race number 8. And he doesn't even hate the idea of throwing up the old all ball in a combination or two with the strongest opinions elsewhere. Let's fast forward back to race number 10. We've got 3 and up maiden special weights, 123,000 in the pot, going 5 furlongs on the inner turf. Drew Coatney, we'll throw it back to you.
Yeah, this is a tough event, and I think you have to start with the number 2, Stribling, who I'm going to fade. And I'll explain why in a bit, but I'm going to go with the top choice of number 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's really annoying in DRF formulator. Apologies, everyone, for having to count the numbers. Number 4, Jackie's Pride, second off the bench. Blinkers go on. Trainer has a 18%, $6 ROI here. Firing second off. So I think this is, first on the turf for that stat there. So I just think this one could easily get the nice stalking trip and have a bit more fitness built in and is a natural stepping stone. But I'm also going to be spreading here with the number 6 Raven Echo. Two back had a horrendous start and yet still clung on well to the pace and finished pretty good as was more or less wrapped up. And last out was a bit outmatched and drops back down into the right pace level and class level here today. So wide draw will help stay out of trouble with this one and get a stalking one-run type of race. And the number 2 Stribling, there's just too many question marks for this runner, trying to break the maiden for the 14th time and a couple second-place finishes only to that record. So I just don't see the great speed that this one will need to succeed on the inner going 5. And I just don't want to take a short price. I'm imagining this one on the morning line is going to be 2-1. Now, if this runner's 8-1, yeah, sign me up. I think that's great value all day. But I just feel like that price is going to be too short. So 4 in the 6 for me is A's.
Stribling listed as 8-5 on the morning line. Jeff, are you with or against Stribling in this spot?
I'm trying to beat Stribling too. I like Stribling. He ran good last time. He actually ran a winning race. The problem was there was a freak in the race, and his name's Artie, and Artie came back to win the other day by 4 or 5 lengths again. So Stribling ran Stribling's race, but Stribling's race is pretty much what it is, and the horse is going to have to move up, I think, to win this race. I actually like the inside horse, Tragically Quick, with the surface change in here. This is one out of a mare that's produced a turf winner. This one's produced a horse by the name of Rockcrest, who really likes going 5/8 on the inside course as well. And if for some reason it comes off, which could happen because of the weather, but I think it'll maybe stay on. I'm fine with either surface in here, but Tragically Quick didn't have the cleanest of trips last time out either. And third start off the layoff, they do like to make an equipment change as the blinkers go on. So I'm a fan of Tragically Quick in race number 10.
For whatever it's worth, the Timeform US breeding algorithm absolutely loves turf sprinting for Tragically Quick. Much faster there than, or not faster, but projected to be much better than doing anything else. So that's an interesting angle for sure on Tragically Quick. Did either of you want to list any more backup type horses in this, or should we move it along?
I don't know about you, Drew. I just the big question mark for me is Saskatchewan in here, because the horse missed so much time last time. I picked the horse last time, as a matter of fact, too, and took a lot of money and showed speed and just stopped. Maybe second time out's better, but I hate when I jump off the bandwagon too soon, but sometimes you're too loyal in life, as I point to my hat, and you get disappointed. So I'm going to go Tragically Quick is kind of my safe play in there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
One idea on Saskatchewan. Now, you know how the way that gelding gets reported, it could be that he was gelded before that last start and it
Correct.
Just got reported after. Okay, so yeah. He was a gelding. He's not a first-time gelding.
Correct.
That makes sense, because now back in 36 days off 447 days before. I don't know, showing speed off the bench. I would, in a race where I was against Stribling, to me, if you have anything to like about Saskatchewan listed at 6-1 in the morning line, you probably want to have in there for at least a penny. Sometimes they just get really fresh off the bench, and that's kind of what the running line looked like too. So I'm definitely convinced to throw in Saskatchewan on that say so. Drew, how about you? Anything else here in race number 10?
Oh, I'm good.
All right, let's move it then to our pay leg for this late pick for race number 11. We've got starter allowance types going 6 on the synthetic, and we've got a nice full field on offer as well. Jeff, we'll throw it back to you to ask the key question. How are we going to get paid?
Oh, I really wanted you to start off with Drew in this race, because I'm kind of ashamed of my pick in this spot. It's I hate picking horses that are 1 for 19, and you continue to make excuses for them. But Have a Super Day, he looked so good last time for the new barn that I'm just thinking maybe Drexler's found something with this guy. He flew home. The winner had a troubled trip. Kawakatus was part of a really hot pace in that race, as a matter of fact, and eventually succumbed to that to finish in third. So, hey, Have a Super Day to wrap it up. That's where I'm going to go, but I'm going to use Kawakatus as well. And Parmigiano is one I'll toss into the mix of things as well.
All right, Parmigiano, come on, we gotta get this going.
Girl too, she's gonna kill me for not saying that.
I like it. And so that would be the 7 Parmigiano and the 10 as well in your mix. 2, 7, and 10 for Jeff to close things out. Drew, how do you see it?
Yeah, oh my gosh. For people not on video, I was fist pumping, crossing fingers that Jeff was going to go with my 1 for 19 runner as well, number 2, Have a Super Day. And I think the stalker just has nice tactical speed. Third start for the new trainer. Kimura stays aboard, predicts a pretty clean trip along the rail. I don't see too much traffic happening. And Last Out got stuck going too wide, and we'll upgrade that number a little bit. And now you got a winner for a 4-year-old that's in the hands of Drexler. So, I mean, what else is there to beat here? We'll have to look at the price, right? If this one's booked in at even money, right, we'll have to move off of that runner here. The other one I find interesting, especially in these events where it's the 1-4 types, is looking for horses with unexposed form, as we just talked about. And I think one that fits that bill is Browning Island, the number 5. Looks to just continue in advance and has that improving type, had an excuse 2 back so we can cross a line through that weak buyer figure and just can continue to step forward. So the winning ride Last Out was pretty simple, and I'm kicking myself for not having it at this horse at 11-1 almost. Rail tipped out and smidge against the pace flow and still done it professionally. But 2 back, I think where the signal is, broke really slow and had to keep getting shuffled back, farther back, and it was all the way back to have to rate wide around the turn and got ranked for a few steps as I think was trying to figure out this whole, like, I can't run as fast as I want to situation. And I think that really hindered this runner, and then got to send down through the drive midway through the turn. So showed the professionalism back on September 25th after that rough ride, and I just think that this runner should have a good chance in here today. So I'm also going to go with the number 10, Kawakatus, and this is the best of speed here and should get the rail fairly easy, I see from that outside draw. So a bit of a freshening, should be ready to fire. So the 2, the 5, and the 10, all going to go on my A lines here.
All right, good stuff, gentlemen. And I like on both this show and the Saturday show, the equine psychology we've gotten these last couple of days. Very, 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 very entertaining stuff. Yeah, my general note on these races is it is the time when I typically don't mind at all to see a horse first time against winners in these starter allowance ranks, because you do have so many proven loser types. But I think you guys both make a fair point with have a super day. I mean, with the barn change, bit of a reset, and the race could be run to suit. I in my perfect world, I'm going to be alive to all 4 of the runners that you guys mentioned collectively, the 2, 5, 7, and 10 to close things out at Woodbine. Well, Jeff, this was so much fun. As we always say around here, no good deed goes unpunished. We'll be bothering you again soon. Next month, maybe do one of these Sunday shows for us. And while we have you, we may as well make you do double duty on a Saturday. Really appreciate your time and help.
Always a pleasure, and I always appreciate you guys supporting Woodbine too. You guys have been so great to us throughout the years. It's been a tough goal for us, with COVID and everything. We weren't sure when we were going to start this year, so really appreciate you guys just being so loyal to us. And anytime you guys reach out is fine with me, although the fans at Woodbine demands that one Peter make an appearance at Woodbine next season. So,
oh, no doubt. It killed me to not be there. I had a couple of trips that just the FOMO crushed me, and one of them was actually the NHC. I believe if I had it to do over again, I kept saying I'm not going to miss a Travers weekend to go to Las Vegas in the summer. I really missed being there, but more than that, I missed being there for the plate and the mile. And next year we can make it happen. And Drew, who's been such a part of our relationship with Woodbine since the start of the podcast. You talk about Woodbine being grateful to us. I see it the other way around. Woodbine, one of the first, one of the 3 or 4 first partners we ever signed up on in the Money Media. We'll have to get a dinner going around one of the big events, and God willing, in the creek don't rise in 2022. Drew, you up for that?
Absolutely. To head up there for the first time to Toronto, north of the border. So
it's so great. Drew, it's not that far a drive to Detroit. We can catch a Lions game at the same time. Just saying.
I might skip
I will talk about my 18-year-old days of going over to Windsor from Detroit. So we'll just leave that there.
I knew the Windsor Ballet was going to make an appearance once Detroit, when we were talking about Detroit and Toronto. But yeah, we won't go any further into that. We don't need to get canceled on today's podcast. Great stuff, gentlemen. For more from Drew, check out inthemoneypodcast.com. For more from Jeff, follow him on Twitter if you're not already at Woodbine Bratt, and just turn on your Woodbine simulcast feed, providing fantastic coverage day in and day out up there. Gentlemen, we will see you the next time. Really appreciate you. Really appreciate our friends and partners at Woodbine. We'll shout them out again as well. This show has been a production of In the Money Media. Our business manager is Drew Coatney. We really need to give producer Craig some sort of title for coordinating all this. This is a video show, too. So we got to give producer Craig a shout out. Our chief creative officer is Jonathan Kitchen. I'm Peter Thomas Fornatal. May you win all your photos.